Hey guys, Chris here. So right behind me we have the 2019 Audi Q8 50 TDI, and in today's video I'm going to give you guys a tour of this car on the exterior and on the interior. Starting off with the exterior, this color is called Daytona Gray Metallic, and this car also has a double S-line, meaning S-line exterior package and S-line interior package. This car also has the midnight package, blacking out almost everything. You can see this huge grille up front is blacked out, totally black. And you also have black details here down below in the front fascia. You also have black roof rails, we'll get to that later, and also black, details around the windows, making this car look really cool. And this is one of, the latest iterations of Audi's brand new design language, where they're taking, a departure from what some people would call, boring but safe. They've always made, these nice looking cars, but this is a real departure into something that's a bit more adventurous, and I really do like the look of this car. This looks really, really cool. So up front we have these really beautiful matrix LED lights, and let's see if we can just, turn on the ignition quickly just to show you that. I'm not going to keep the car running, but let's see if we can. Yeah, there we go, guys. These look damn cool and damn mean. We're just gonna go ahead and close the door and leave them on. Yeah, they look really cool and really sharp. I really like the way these DRL looks. And here we have this huge blacked out grille. You have, the radar cruise control sensors here, one on each side of the Audi logo. And you have these air ducts here on the right side, but this one here on the left side is actually fake, but this one has a real function. Moving over to the side, this car is equipped with winter wheels, so it has these 21-inch double 5-spoke wheels on Nokian Hakkapeliitta R275/45/21s, so that is a huge winter tire. You have S-line badging here, and as I said, it's blacked out the lower part of the door mirror. And you also have a black detail moving across the bottom sill of the doors, and you also have blacked out details around the windows, and also a blacked out roof rail that is very, very cool. And then you also have these blacked out windows from the B pillar and backwards. I think this thing just looks spectacular, especially while walking over to the rear. This rear light design might be one of the sexiest rear light designs in a long time. I remember when the previous generation A7 came out, that was very sexy, but I think this just surpasses that without a doubt. So you also have a blacked out rear window, you have this deck lid spoiler here, and then you have, this steep raking roof line, because, this is kind of a coupe. This sits above the A7, so this competes with the BMW X6, but this is a much better execution, of the coupe SUV than anything BMW have ever made. I think this looks really nice. These rear tail lights, as you can see, you have the same, this almost like shark teeth DRLs as you have in the front headlights, and they just work very well on the rear. And you have this light bar, crossing the whole width of the car, and then you have this blacked out section here. I think the execution of the rear is very, very nice. And then you have more blacked out details down below, though you do have fake exhaust tips. I don't know why they did that, but well, that looks a bit weird. You have the proper exhaust tips underneath there pointing down, but that seems to be a trend of Audi as of late. Don't know why they're doing that, but well, they did that here. I don't mind it too much, but people, might think that's a bit strange. Walking over to the other side of the car, just the whole profile of the exterior, I think this just looks spectacular. As I said, one of the best looking cars, SUVs on the market today. And if you can see that rear shoulder line, especially when you see that through the rear window, or the rear mirror rather, it's very wide. That looks really nice. And as you guys might know, that this car is basically the twin to the Lamborghini Urus with a different front end and a different, rear end. Basically the same interior, but I think, well, which car do you think looks the best, this or the Lamborghini Urus? So before we take a look at the interior, just want to show you guys this car's key design. This is one of Audi's newest key designs, though I have seen them, even more upscale than this with, black glossy plastic. This has the black matte plastic, and you also have the aluminum buttons here. This car, strangely enough, doesn't have, keyless entry, but it does have keyless go. So you have to, use the button here to unlock the car. And this also has the, as you can see here, this has the external heater, the auxiliary heater, which is really welcome now in wintertime, especially when it's really cold like it is now. My hands are basically freezing. So here you have the lock button, you have, the unlock, the trunk, and then you have the lock button. So when I unlock the door, nothing really happens. You have the blinkers, but this will fold out when you get going. And this car, you still have indentation here for the keyless go or keyless access, but this car doesn't have that. So opening up the front door, which is revealed right away, is these frameless doors, and I think they look very, very cool. This also has the double glass, which is laminated in between there to give you a really quiet cabin. But I think this looks really cool, and like other cars with frameless doors, it sounds very solid, no rattle at all, and that is quite impressive. This car also has soft close doors, so just press the door into the body and the door just sucks itself closed, which is very practical, especially if you have children, as I do. So if you want to go in and out of the car while the child is sleeping, instead of slamming the door, you just put the door like that and it just gently closes the door, which is very practical. So over to the interior. So this car has the S-Line interior package, but otherwise than that, it doesn't have very much extra equipment, and that is very rare for a press car, because usually these press cars are spec'd to the brim, but this isn't. So you have soft touch plastics up top instead of leather. You have Alcantara door inserts, and you also have plastic on the armrest instead of leather, which is, well, being a press car again, which is very unusual, but everything is super high quality. You have beautiful switch gear here. You have the automatic window buttons up and down. You have child locks separate for the rear doors, and you also have your wing mirror controls here. You have your trunk release down there. You have more soft touch plastics here, though this is a harder, no guys, this is, maybe my hands are just cold, but this is, well, it's not quite hard, but it's not quite soft. It's the hardest soft touch plastic I've felt in a while. That's a bit disappointing. This car has the Bang & Olufsen premium sound system, which actually sounds very good. I'm going to do a whole separate video on that, or review in a separate video. You have badging here, but the speaker grill is just in plastic because this is the low tier Bang & Olufsen, so the mid-tier stereo. In this car, you have aluminum trim here, which is beautifully executed in Audi fashion. Really high quality, door release, and then you have the lock and unlock buttons there for the central locking, and then you also have your memory seat controls. Moving over to the interior, the seat, these are electrically adjustable, as you can see there, but nothing fancy. But you can adjust the cushion, length of the cushion, but you have to do it in the Touch MMI infotainment, which isn't apparent right away. I had to ask actually where to adjust this, but it's very nice, the seat. And very supportive and very comfortable. You have S-Line badging there, and then you have contrast stitching, and then you have Alcantara inserts. It's just, a simple seat. This is basically the base seat in this car, but it's very comfortable and looks very nice. So we're gonna step inside the car because it is cold as heck outside. Just gonna turn on the ignition to get some air running. And you can see there when I turned on the ignition, the doors the wing mirrors did unfold. So first thing you're granted with is this huge 12-inch digital gauge cluster called Virtual Cockpit. And you also have their brand new infotainment system, which is called Touch MMI. You have a huge screen up here and a huge screen down there to control the climate control, but I have a whole separate video on this, so please click the link up there in the right corner to see a detailed video on the infotainment system here. So I'm just going to turn off that screen there so it's not distracting us. So we're granted with this S-Line sports steering wheel, which is very nice. I like that the grip isn't too thick. Smooth leather off top, smooth leather on the bottom, and then you have this perforated leather on the side, which is beautiful contrast thick stitching here, which Audi do very nice. And then you have this bottom spoke, which is hollow like this. It's very nice because I like holding my hand down here while driving, and is of aluminum, though the airbag cover is actually soft touch plastic instead of leather, which is a bit disappointing, but at least, you know, the details on the airbag cover are very nice. And also here you have some rubberized plastic finish. Here you have the buttons to control the 12-inch digital gauge cluster. So just quickly you can scroll between the different, you know, menus like that. And you can also zoom in and out with this scroll wheel. And you can also change the view. So either you want a large gauge cluster view or a small, giving you a larger map. And you have volume, and you have forwards and backwards skipping the track there, and then you have voice commands, and then you have your phone controls there, and then you also have a programmable button there. So the rest of the interior, this is also Audi's new design language, and this thing is just beautiful. I love their center stack here, their dashboard design. I think it looks very nice, and how these vents just, you know, occupy the whole width of the dashboard there. Again, this doesn't have any fancy leather, just soft touch plastics, but everything feels, you know, really high quality. Though piano black finish, I think you can, you know, opt for a different trim, because this just collects dust and fingerprints very quickly, though it's beautifully trimmed with this quattro badging there. And you know, you have this aluminum trim here on the bottom, and then you have more aluminum trim there. It just looks gorgeous. And here you also have the climate control now, which is fully digital. So just very simple. You can see there, you just press to adjust the temperature. You have your seat heaters, you have your AC, you have, you know, your other HVAC controls there. That's actually, well, it doesn't do anything. And then you can, you know, adjust your fan speed. And then if you press the seat here, then you can adjust the length of the seat cushion down here. So it's a strange place to put it, and if you don't know where it is, you'll be hard pressed to find where you adjust it. Though for my body, I think it's still, even when it's adjusted all the way in, it's a bit far out. I don't have the longest legs because I'm only about 5'7". I don't sit, you know, super comfortable in this car. I do fit much better in Volvo seats or BMW seats or Mercedes seats, and even other Audi seats I do fit better. This car also has the uprated galvanized buttons down here. You can get these just in plastic or in, you know, just matte plastic, but this has the galvanized buttons. It looks very, very nice. You have a 360 camera there. That's what that looks like. And then you also have, if you press there, you have augmented reality. You can press 3D down there, and then you can see the car from the outside. But I don't think you're able to... Yeah, you can change the view like that. So that is actually very, very cool, especially when parking against curbs. I find that particular, you know, practical. Otherwise than that, I don't use it as much. It is quite a gimmick, but it does have some real world use, guys. So just gonna, you know, close that up again and leave the screen off. And then you have down here, you have the, you know, the electronic shifter, which is one of the nicest feeling electronic shifters in the business. It just feels very, very solid and of high quality. The action just feels very mechanical. And then you have the parking brake here, which is electronic. And then you have your auto hill hold here. I really do like the graphics here of how this is shown here with the gear selector. Though what I don't like is this piece of plastic here, because this isn't metal, it is actually plastic, and it feels and looks cheap, and it actually, you know, moves a bit around like that. I know you're not going to sit like that, but still, that is a bit disappointing, with the rest of the interior just being of super high quality. Opening up this door reveals 2 cup holders and also a 12-volt outlet. You do have limited space, you know, to put your phone. You don't have a lot of places to put your phone here, which is a bit disappointing. I like to listen to podcasts while driving. I can still do that, but I have to have my phone like that. On YouTube, I listen to podcasts, meaning if I don't have premium, I have to have the screen, you know, on. But I do have, behind this armrest, I do have a wireless charging port, or pad, rather. I don't think it's working now. Yes, it does, even though the car isn't turned on, or the ignition is turned on. it is running. You also have SD card slots there, a SIM card slot, and also 2 USB ports. And this, armrest is very nice. It's in leather, contrast stitching, and it is height adjustable and also length adjustable, which is very nice. Audi are one of the few, makers who still do that today. Down low here, you actually have hard touch plastics, which is a bit disappointing, or is softly padded hard touch. Feels even more hard touch than what you have on the door. And then you have this aluminum trim here. The center console just looks and feels of really high quality. And then you have this huge expansive panoramic sunroof, though I wish it was just a bit longer because it does stop there, but they probably had to make that because of how the roof is shorter on this car than on something like a Q7. So quickly, let's check out the rear seat. That was the front seat. And the rear doors, you also get these, frameless doors, which are really cool, frameless windows. And you also have soft close doors on the rear doors. And well, this seat is set all the way back now, and my daughter's pacifier. Sorry about the mess. You also have soft touch plastics up top here, same Alcantara finish, and then you have a pocket here, which actually looks to me like an ashtray from cars of old, but I assure you, I don't think this car has a smoker's package. And then you have soft touch plastics here, so this is just storage. Aluminum trim there, a beautiful aluminum or metal door handle, and then you have the Bang & Olufsen speaker grill here, which is the Bang & Olufsen badging, but the rest of the speaker grill is hard touch plastics, which is a bit disappointing. I hope they would have done that better, because Harman Kardon in BMW and in BMW and in Volvo, being the competitor to this, have really nice speaker grills and nicer than what you get here. And then you have a large door pocket here. And then the seats, you can, adjust the seat back also. And you can also fold them, of course. I'm just going to move that front seat just a bit out of the way so you can sit there. Like that. So you have the seats here, and then it's not very flat, so this middle seat might not be the best for passengers, but these outboard seats are very nice. And then you have this same smooth leather contrast stitching Alcantara inserts, and yeah, they are really nice. And this car is very, very spacious. I think it's just about as spacious as in the rear seat as a Q7 with 5 seats, and it's more spacious than my XC90 with 7 seats, because you have to have room for a third row there in the back. So the second row passengers actually have more space in this than in my XC90. This thing is just humongous here. And you also have a 12-volt power outlet. You have 2 USB ports there, and this also has the quad climate control, so you have adjustable temperature, fan speed, and also you have seat heaters. Or do you have seat heaters? Well, I actually don't think this has seat heaters, though it has the rear climate package, which is a bit strange and odd. But you do have vents here on the center here, and then you also have vents here on the door. So you have a speaker here, and then the seat back here is soft leather, and well, soft-ish this seat back here, though not the softest. It's a bit disappointing. And then you have this map pocket, or this net for storage. And then you can see here my daughter's child seat, which is huge, and you still have room for a full-size adult there in front. That seat isn't even set all the way back, and well, the rear doors are very wide, so getting that child seat in and out isn't a huge problem. And then you also have a armrest here with a cup holder. Not the most elegant solution I've seen. I've seen other manufacturers do this better. You don't have any storage here for first, and this solution just seems, a bit cheap. So lastly, guys, we're going to check out the trunk, which is huge in this car. I think it's almost as huge as in the Q7. And you can see here, our stroller is dismantled in 2 pieces. So you have the chassis here, and then you have the bag there. The bag would easily fit over, the chassis here in 1 piece. But the way I dismantled this, on the ground, I take off the bag part first, and I like to just place that into the trunk, and then you put the chassis there. So that illustrates just how huge and how big this trunk is. You do lose some space here, you know, above the waistline because of that raking roof, but you know, how often do you really use that? And then you also have an electric trailer hitch here, and you can also lower and heighten the car for loading because this car does have air suspension. Though this cover here is that actually manual? Yeah, that is actually, no, wait, let's see if this actually is automatic. If I close that and then I open that again, will it move out of the way or will it stay in place? No, that will stay in place. So, well, yeah, so that works just like in the XC90. So I complained about that in the Volvo V60 versus our Audi A4, that being a station wagon, and I'm going to complain about it here, that it doesn't move out of the way automatically. That is a bit disappointing. So there you go, guys. That was my exterior and interior tour of this, the 2019 Audi Q8 50 TDI. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please drop me a thumbs up down below. And for more car content, as always, guys, please subscribe. See you guys later and goodbye.